Hello and welcome. I'm Jenny Hall. Thanks for joining me for another card making tutorial. Today I'm creating something a little bit different. You may have noticed that as of late my videos are tending to change a little bit. That's because things in my family dynamic have changed. My children are requiring that they need my attention and my husband's attention a lot more than they did whenever I had time to devote to running a Stampin' Up! Business. Things are kind of changing a little bit, and what's really good is that sometimes we can kind of change with things, and I feel the need to get back to basics. A few years ago, I started my YouTube channel, and it has been one of the really big joys that I've had in my life. One of the things I also started sharing was different ways to create projects for papercraft with many different ways. I used to share, and I have really been getting back to, some different items such as this book here. This is called Beauty in the Bible, and what it is an entire book of coloring pages that are all based around coloring verses, Bible verses. You color them in. It's by, it says pen and paint, or pen plus paint. And I think that in the back of the book, it shows that the author is Lindsay Hopkins. So if you're looking for this book, then this is the type of book. It's not based on watercolor paper, but it's really thick, heavy cardstock. So I really want to get back to the basics, and I am enjoying sharing my paper crafting journey with you here. And this is not Stampin' Up! Products, but this is something that brings me joy. So I'm going to share how I am going to color one of the little cards that's in the back of the book. In the back of the book, they have, I'll show you the front of the book first. The front of the book is a full size that you can make like for home decor or just to hang on the wall. But in the back, there's a section of the same exact art pieces that are scaled down much smaller. And this is one of those that's in from the back of the book. And this is the size of a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 A2 card. And you can see that by placing it in just the right area, that I can get a card front out of this. Because coloring is something that I really love, then it brings me joy and it brings me peace. And the Bible verse in this particular one really spoke to me. It says, "Whoever believes need never be shaken," from Isaiah 28:16. And I really am, something is really bringing me to this Bible verse. So I hope that you are enjoying some of the videos that I am bringing to you that have a variation in coloring products. I will continue to use some Stampin' Up! Products, but I also am really enjoying using the little bit of craft time that I have to myself to craft with some things that just bring me joy. What I'm coloring with today is a set of watercolors that my children bought for me a few years ago. These are, now I'm gonna drop them. These are called the Gansai Tambi. And I put these on my Christmas list a few years ago. Now I'm just gonna put them back into the little places here. But I put them back into, I put these on my Christmas list a few years ago, and of course my children got whatever I asked for because they needed ideas by that point. They're so young. But I got several different sets of pan watercolors, and this is one that when I use these watercolors, then it brings me joy of my children. And then coloring in something that's a Bible verse then is also like a meditation for me. And so I wanted to share this project. I hope that you enjoy it. And I hope that you enjoy all of the different variation of products that I am showing now in my videos. Let's take a look at how I colored in this project. I'll be using a ceramic palette to hold the coloring, and these are the 3 brushes that I like to watercolor with. A flat brush to if I choose to make my entire surface wet, a large round brush, and a small round brush. This is the paper that came in with the watercolors, and as you can see, they've all been put back into place in the appropriate place. They didn't fall out any other times, just that once when I was showing them to you. When doing watercolors, I like to use a old plastic dirty cup to hold my dirty water, and then a jelly jar to use for my clean water. Here's a look at what Beauty in the Bible Volume 2 looks like. And again, it's nice heavy paper. It's not really that heavy, but it's heavy enough to where it can take a light coating of watercolor. And here is some of the publisher's information if you're looking for it. So here's what the card base size is, and I'm going to measure off and block it to where I can see where I need to color and where I know that it would be outside of what the card front area is. So I'm just using a black marker to kind of make a landmark for myself. And one of the first things I'm going to do is to take some water and put a drop on each one of the pan colors that I plan to use to kind of soften up the paint just a little bit because they are dry. And then after it's been sitting for a few minutes, I'll take my large round paintbrush and I will kind of muddle it around on the surface. If you're new to using this type of watercolor product, then don't be intimidated. It's supposed to be dry, and then you melt a little bit of it and kind of pick it up and drop it into any kind of palette you like to use. It can even be a ceramic plate, anything that works best for you. These are really concentrated watercolors, so when I pick up some of the clean water, then I'm going to be diluting each color as I go. It doesn't seem like there's very much color there, but believe me, I will not come close to even using a fraction of the paint that is already sitting in the palette. The nice thing about watercolors is that they are translucent. And that means that you can see through them to the paper that's underneath. So knowing that, I can add different things in layers. So I'm adding this turquoise color on top of the darker blue, and it sits on top of it and gives it a really unique look. I like to use the silver brush. That's the brand name of this particular paintbrush, and this is a number 6. I like a number 4 as well, but these were larger pieces to paint, so I thought a number 6 would work out well. The color tones that I chose are like blues, greens, and yellow with a little bit of purple to kind of add a little bit of dark tones to transition it with the black drawing. And I really like these colors. And I'm not laying them down in any exact kind of format. I'm just grabbing a color from the palette and using it in an area that kind of looks like maybe I can balance a color in that particular place. I want the leaves to be green, of course, but everything else is up for grabs. It can be any color that's right there in my color palette. The outside edges of most of what I'm painting is yellow, and then I'll go back in and add some green tones to it, kind of ending up in an aqua sort of look. This needs to be completely dried. In fact, when I cut it down, it wasn't dried in a couple of spots and the paper tore just a little bit. But I showed what a white card base looks like in comparison to the gray. And with white card base, and I do use a lot of white, I didn't feel like it had enough, I guess it would be contrast. So I mounted it on a light gray cardstock instead. Here are some sequins that I've had for a very long time. This little packet is from Little Things by Lucy's, and it's just a nice variety. I hope you like the little bit of coloring that I've shared with you today. Here's another look at our finished card. And it's nothing fancy. It's nothing that I would say is a showstopper, but it made me happy. It made me happy to color it. It made me happy to think about the Bible verse as I was coloring. And this is the small amount of craft time that I have to myself. I want to do something that makes me happy and brings me joy. My husband said something recently to me, and that was, are you happy? What makes you happy with the little bit of time that you have? And wow, that was a really big question. Kind of like, what do they call that? A loaded question. Anyhow, I hope that this video today has inspired you to maybe try something a little different and find something that brings you joy. Again, this is the Beauty in the Bible book, and it can probably be found on Amazon or any type of store. It is a few years old, we'll say. It's not a recent purchase. And I love how the colors in this card came out. I hope you like it too. If you have any questions about the process that I've shared today, then just leave a comment. If you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, I wish that you would, and I thank you for clicking that subscribe button to everybody that is a subscriber. I have lots and lots of really fun stuff coming up. Things are going to change a little bit, and that's okay, and I'm happy to take you along with me on the journey. See you next time.
Thanks for watching the video. Have a good day!